Introduce yourself.
Hold on just a second. Sorry. Hi, I'm Shannon McKnight from the Youth Advocacy Coalition in McCall, Valley County.
All right. Glad you're here. How about you, Jim Hopla?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Hopla. I don't even know what I am anymore. I'm the evaluator for CCI, and I also am a professor at Brigham Young University, Idaho.
All right. And we have Catie.
Catie Wiesman, is that me? Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here today. I'm the People and Community Manager for the Idaho State Liquor Division, and appreciate you being willing to let me speak and visit with you today. Thank you.
I'm so glad to put a face with that name.
I know, Sharon. Yay.
All right, Jerry.
Good morning. I'm Jerry Gowan, out of Region 3. I'm the Region 3 rep and the clinical director of Prevention Associates, which is the fiscal agent for the 2C Drug-Free Coalition. And I've got a foot out the door, and I'm talking to you from 70-degree weather in my motorhome.
Woo! Jealous.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not trying to rub it in or anything. I'm actually explaining my appearance. So.
All right. And we have Chloe and David and Rose. How are you today?
Good.
Rose, do you want to tell everyone your coalition?
Rose Chef, I'm the Chalice Area Health Center Community Wellness Coalition in downtown, well, not downtown, Chalice, Idaho, in the middle of nowhere.
All right. And we have Tara.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tara Woodward, and I am the Partnerships for Success Coordinator for Southwest District.
Okay. Glad to have you here. And Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, Jeff Anderson. I'm the director of the Idaho State Liquor Division, and it's an honor to be joining you today. We're very proud of the work that you all do around Idaho, and we're thankful that we can help support that.
Well, glad to have you here, Jeff. Thank you. Daphne, how are you today?
Good, thank you. We're getting some little snowdrops out of the sky, so yay. I am the coordinator for the Canyon County Drug-Free Coalition.
Wonderful. Good to see you. And then we have Kaylee. Did I say that right?
Yep, it's Kaylee. Hi, I am the Partnership for Success person for District 2, and I'm just getting started, so it's nice to meet you all.
We're glad you're here. Nice to meet you. And Mallory, we've seen you before. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm Mallory Johnson. I'm the Direct Overdose Prevention Program Coordinator at Eastern Idaho Public Health.
All right. We've already talked to Shannon. How about Natasha?
Hi, I'm Natasha Needham. I am I run the Maniac Teen Center here in Orfino, and I am the activities coordinator for the Clearwater Youth Alliance. Just putting together as much stuff as we can that's drug and alcohol free for the families in our community.
Great. All right, Kendall, how are you today?
Good morning, everyone. I'm doing well. I'm Kendall Nagy with the Meridian Anti-Drug Coalition and Substance Abuse Prevention Provider for Meridian Police Department.
Great. Leah, how are you today?
Hey, I'm Leah. I'm doing great. I'm the director of the Idaho Radar Center in Boise. We provide all of the substance use disorder prevention, treatment, recovery materials, as well as other stuff for free to a lot of you guys. I know I recognize a lot of your names, so we're happy to be here.
Great. And Marianne? Is Marianne here? Maybe she doesn't. Marianne, you're muted. Okay, we'll come back to Marianne. How about Tony? Are you on, Tony?
Sorry, I muted myself. I was already on unmute. Hi, I'm Tony Faraka with the Liquor Division. I'm the Chief Deputy Director and appreciate you letting me listen in today. Thank you.
Great. Great to have you here. Marianne, if you unmute, you can introduce yourself. Otherwise, we'll go on to Rebecca and come back to you. Rebecca?
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's Rebecca Sprague. I'm with Central District Health. I'm the project coordinator for Partnerships for Success here.
Great. And Sylvia, last but not least.
Morning, I'm Sylvia Ryan up in Valley County, and I'm a YAC member on the CCI board, but also represent the Valley County Opioid Response Project up here in Valley County.
Great. Is there anyone we missed? Welcome to the meeting today. Sylvia, since you're last up, would you mind reading our mission and vision for us this morning?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me.
I have it.
Sorry, I just got off another meeting, so I'm like,
oh that's
out
fine.
of it here. Sorry.
Chloe, how about you? Are you on?
Yep, I can read it.
Okay, great.
Our mission is to support community coalition's efforts to prevent youth substance abuse in Idaho. Our vision is a safe and healthy Idaho-free communities free of substance abuse.
Great. We're so glad to have so many partners on this morning. And it's always great to hear just updates from all of you so we can get a whole picture of what's really going on in prevention in Idaho. Would like to go ahead and ask for someone to entertain a motion for the consent agenda. This is not for the carryover. It's just for the financial report and the minutes from last month. Can somebody entertain a motion to approve those?
This is Kendall. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a second.
This is Rose. I second the motion.
All four?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? All right, those are approved. Our carryover budget is a separate budget, and since it is specific to this year, we do need to take just a minute and explain where those items are before we approve that carryover budget. David or Chloe, I'm not sure which one.
Did you want to do that in new business? We move that to new business.
That would be fine.
Okay, so
Wonderful.
Next up on the agenda is Catie with the Idaho Liquor Division.
Yes, Catie, we are excited to hear all about the Liquor Division. You had a great opportunity for coalitions and different people throughout Idaho, and we're glad you're here to tell us about it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. So then the next trick is to actually share my screen. So I'm going to visit, but again, I finally, COVID had left us all, I've seen so many faces and seen so many names, and we kind of just didn't get to see everybody anymore. And once I found out, I was chatting with David and I said, I need to meet you. We need to get together. And he's like, well, I'm just in Meridian and I'm literally in Boise. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we're like minutes away and I haven't met you yet. So thinking he was in District 3 and just where everybody is spread out. So I was happy to finally meet him and then take the opportunity of doing a visit earlier about a mini grant program, but now he's invited me to tell you a little bit about the agency and why we came to be. And so I'm going to share my screen and hopefully this will work for us. Can everybody see? Let's see. And do you see the full screen or do you see my presenting screen? I only have one screen here. So do you just see it all blown up? You don't see my face or anything? I don't know if you see my face or not. All right. Okay. So The Idaho model of distribution and spirits. First, I want to thank David and the CCI group for inviting me to be here today. I think I've got roughly 20 minutes or so. And so we'll get through this. And if there's any questions at the end, if I can go ahead and go through the presentation and then just jot your questions, or I think you can put them in the chat and we can review those after. And I'm super lucky to have our director, Jeff Anderson, is on the call, as well as our Chief Deputy and CFO, Tony Faraka. I'm not sure if they're here just to make sure I say all the right things, but I'm hopeful that I'll say all the right things and then they're here for support. So with that, we'll move forward. So our mission was created really to kind of support Article 3 in Section 24 and 26 in the Idaho Constitution. But that the mission of the Idaho State Liquor Division is to provide control over the importation, distribution, sale, and consumption of distilled spirits, curtail intemperate use of beverage alcohol, and responsibly optimize the net revenues to the citizens of Idaho. And sometimes it's kind of with that a pull and a push. Sometimes it's hard to decide, is it control, is it intemperance, but to provide revenues. So sometimes that can be difficult in trying to manage and how we move forward. So, but it is how we do business. So, and then also our vision. So it is to be the most respected and highest performing purveyor of distilled spirits in the US. That doesn't mean that we're going to sell the most. That means that what we do it well, and we do it and that people respect the work that we do. And I hope that is the case here with all of you as well. So really it comes down to, but how did we come to be? Why are we control? Why do we even use the word control? And so well, it started, like I said, it's kind of like a little history lesson that we like to kind of dial back and say that we were actually one of the first of several states, including Washington and Oregon, to actually enact a statewide prohibition 4 years prior to the passage of the national prohibition, the Volstead Act, Amendment 18. But they found it just really created an era of bootlegging, speakeasies, organized crime. There were so many things that around it for the health and safety reasons, and tainted product, marketing condition. There were just so many things that it just didn't work. And so they got together and said, okay, what can work? How can we do it? How can we do it better? And so the repeal of the of prohibition in 1933 was the 21st Amendment. And interesting fact, there's actually only one product that's listed in the Constitution, and liquor is actually mentioned twice. So a fun fact. So, but at that time, in 1933, the states got to choose, and they chose the words control or private, or and so looking at really all of them had regulations. All of them still, the government is in the business somehow, but choosing which way the control was just a little bit more. And so we actually at that time was the adoption of the 3-tier system for alcohol. And so looking at the 3-tier system, which had been in several different industries, but for alcohol specifically, the 3-tier system has been an effective method really since the end of Prohibition. So the structure creates an important public health safeguards while streaming the tax revenue process. So products made unlawfully have a really difficult time actually making it into the marketplace within the confines of this arrangement. And so the products that that you're getting, they're not going to hurt or kill, or some things that you've seen in other countries that when you've got tainted products. So know that what we're selling is safe, again, when used appropriately. And deregulation does continue to threaten that model. A lot of people want to, they discuss or talk about privatization, and there's actually been only one state that has actually deregulated, and that was in 2012 in Washington State. So that's the only one since Prohibition that has actually changed their model, and it didn't go well. It's not going well. So we'll talk about that in the next few slides. So, but it is impactful, and it's just as necessary as it was centuries ago. So At that time, citing here, of course, the Center of Alcohol Policy, the reasons why it is still effective today, people still support it. You know, you might hear, and there might be others that, you know, speak loudly or that feel, oh, it's wrong. I want to be able, and I've got my little Captain Crunch box up here that Jeff Anderson sometimes uses for his presentation. Some people want to go to an outlet at any time of day, whenever they want, wherever they want, and pick up their Captain Morgans that might be right next to the Captain Crunch. And that's not the model that we want. And again, we'll talk about that. But 72% of the people still believe that alcohol is a unique good. It shouldn't sit next to the Captain Crunch or the toilet paper. And 81 support states determining their own laws and regulations regarding alcohol. So in Idaho, we get to choose, and we have rules and laws and statute. And so we are the ones that are managing that piece. And then 76% support the state's right to regulate and manufacture, sale, and distribution of Idaho. So at the time of Prohibition, the states got to choose. And there were actually 18 jurisdictions. And now, again, minus Washington, there are 17 states and jurisdictions in Alaska, Maryland, Minnesota, and South Dakota. And they control the sale of distilled spirits. And in some cases, they'll do wine and beer. Through the government agency at the wholesale level. So 13 of those jurisdictions control over retail sales for off-premise consumption, either through government-operated package stores or designated agents. So currently, the controls states, or the control jurisdictions rather, represent approximately 24.8% of the national's population and account for roughly 23% of distilled spirit sales and significantly smaller percentage of beer and wine sales. So Idaho specifically, so the Idaho State Liquor Division and how our set up, our overview, we have 67 state-run liquor stores. And at the time of this, we had 101 contract stores, but Tony and Jeff, I think we might be up to 104 or 5. Sometimes that does fluctuate. That might be the smaller locations that don't warrant a larger store, but they might be in your, the corner store. I think in one we have an insurance agency. And so it just depends on what that community, what the community is requesting and needing. So we have a full service distribution center, and it ships over 1 million cases annually, and that's here in Boise. And our central office is actually located here as well. So we have roughly 25 administrative staff, and that's accounting, IT, procurement, distribution, and then HR. And so as far as our sales for fiscal year 2021, they were right shy of $300 million in sales, and we're forecasting now for over 309 million for fiscal year 2022. So throughout the state, and this is one that people sometimes don't realize, those 67 state stores, those are all state employees. So we have full-time employees, and then we have temporary employees, which temporary for us only means that they can only work up to 19.5 hours a week. So all of those are state employees. And then the contract stores, though, they are their own, and then they buy the product from us and they sell it. So it's a little neat format. So $114.5 million was distributed to the operations of cities and counties, substance abuse treatment, and the general fund. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as far as where the money goes. And I know probably many of you are curious as far as COVID. We had forecasted for fiscal year 2021, I'll go back to that slide, 280 million, and we landed at 297. So yes, people did buy a little more during the pandemic. Again, I have got a couple of slides at the end of the show to address that. So Title 23 in Chapter 4, the statute actually tells us where our monies and our profit distributions go. So once we will sell the product, once at the end of the year, we'll look at where those funds are, and then it is set that say 2% is a surcharge for the liquor, and that goes automatically to drug courts, mental health courts, and family court services fund. And then the others go to cities and counties, and some do have to, they do say they have to spend it to community colleges, and some say, so depending on what those individual areas are, we have several cities use it for law enforcement, for parks, for recreation, for the fire stations and things like that. So it is going, the cities and counties get to choose where that money goes. So this is a bit of an eye chart, I think, depending on how small your screen is, especially if you're watching it on your phone, but just a representation of where our contract stores and state stores are located. And I wanted to mention that we are an agency under the governor's office. And so we, Jeff Anderson, our director, reports directly to the governor. And then we've got the rest of the group, as I mentioned, finance, IT, procurement, retail, all under that. So the benefits, I think this is one that David really wanted me to hone in on and say, well, why? What is it? Why did we choose this? And why? What are the benefits for it? So lower per capita consumption. So another slide that I've got here, we'll talk about outlet density and availability. So we do have lower per capita consumption, fewer alcohol-related deaths and lost work days, safer roadway and lower crime. We've got a better selection for customers and licensees. And, it's interesting because we'll hear, oh, your selection isn't great. Or I went to, Costco and I was able to buy the big bottle. And okay, but our selection, we have roughly over 1,200 SKUs versus some of the big box retailers might only have 500. So as far as the uniqueness of our products and how we go to market, it's a much better selection. So a bailment inventory. So I think a couple of you have been, I know Marco's been, hi Marco, welcome. Have been to the liquor division and seen our system, but have a bailment inventory, which means that our suppliers send our products here and we technically don't own it. We, until it actually leaves our office, then they invoice us. So we're more of a warehouse. And what that does is that it really helps with those cash flow. And it's a very efficient system for us. So, and predictable revenue for local jurisdictions and lower taxes for Idaho residents. So those counties and cities, they pretty much know what they're going to get every year from the liquor division. And what it does is that those that choose to drink, those are the ones that are paying into that, and that those distributions are coming from that. So it's not coming out of your property taxes or other forms of taxes. So consumption of distilled spirits, this is one that we wanted to talk about as far as per capita less. I wanted to show you a graph here that Idaho consumption is 15% less than open states. And so it's well below the national averages and even less when we factor out the cross-border sales with Washington state. So as I mentioned, when Washington deregulated, it didn't get the government out of the business, it just put more people in it. And so what happened was that there were several taxes and assessed to that. So even though you go to the shelf and you might see one sticker price, when you get to the register, you're paying far, far more. And so those cross-border sales are still roughly about 7% of our sales are coming from Washington. And so, like I said, it's kind of an experiment that we've seen now. It's been, gosh, that was 2012. So it's already been over 10 years. So, noting here a couple of things. Idaho earns 77 per gallon in revenue, while control states average about 75. So we're even doing better than other control states, where open states only earn $42 a gallon, but private sector profit margins increase in that retail price. So outlet density. This is one that comes up quite often, and especially with coalition groups and discussing. We've chosen this model. One, we don't want to go to the store every other corner and be able to buy our product and get our product at different times. And I know Director Anderson had gone to the law enforcement and said, okay, when should we close our stores? And they said 9 o'clock. Bad things happen after 9. And so it's like, okay, so none of our stores are open past 9. But they are conveniently located. So, and specifically for Idaho, for spirit outlets over 100,000 residents, Idaho's looking at 16, where other control states are even more, where comparatively to licensed states, we have over 50. And so we talk about, why is outlet density important? And it really does matter. Looking at problem drinking, underage theft, alcohol-related harms, and other problems. So the CDC does have a study that's out there that you can look at it. They are recommending reducing or limiting the growth of alcohol to reduce the harms associated with excessive alcohol consumption. So there's quite a bit. I should note that here. So NABCA, our National Alcohol Beverage Control Association, that's our trade association. And a lot of you have seen that name either through our trainings or NOAC or various, either through our mini grant program. And so they've got a lot. If you're ever looking for white papers or some research materials or things, that's a great site to go to. And I'd be happy to send that out in the chat too later. So why it works. We don't advertise. If anything, it's we might have a mention of our website. We have a retail website called mixblendenjoy.com, where you can actually look for product availability if there's various different things going throughout the site or throughout the state, various promotions and such. But otherwise, we don't advertise. That is actually on the supplier side to do. We've got limited and convenient store hours, uniform, fair supplier-based pricing. So we don't set our prices. We do visit with them about what the product is and the competitive set, looking at, okay, how many other vodkas are rye, or how many whiskeys are rye, and looking at that competitive set. So it is fair. And all revenue generated remains in Idaho. This is a big one. When you are talking about deregulating or dismantling the system, once you do that, then the money starts going somewhere else. And that's really one of the biggest things that when people want to deregulate, because they want a piece of that money or they want a piece of that pie. So improve compliance versus the private sector. We do specialized training. We make sure, that liquor has to be purchased at one of our stores or at a contract store selling liquor. And so that compliance and making sure that everyone is above the age of 21 when purchased. So, and then fewer but conveniently located retail outlets. So we talked about a little bit product selection, that it does carry a variety of efficient operations as far as our full-time employees and versus our sales. Net margins to the citizens, 38% of our sales all distributed back to GEM state citizens, and very low operating expenses, so only 12.9% of the sales. So, and then advantages to our citizens. We pay no federal corporate income tax. Like I mentioned, we have that bailment inventory, which is unique to state-run operation, which keeps the inventory carrying costs low. And I like to bring this slide up because I find when I'm having these discussions with various people, they'll say, "Oh, I don't drink. It's not going to affect me," or I don't, there's a bill going on. I don't really understand it. I'm not going to listen. And this is where we really do talk that it's just important, if not as important, because we have roughly almost 50% that don't drink, or if they do, it's that, infrequent drinker, which again, holiday season, you might have that eggnog when you go to the party this weekend. But for the most part, 35% abstain. And so you've got those as far as regular drinkers having 1 or 2 drinks a week or more. But if we deregulate, or if we change that model, that's when this other piece could potentially play, when you're looking at sales tax, when you're looking at property taxes, when you're looking at various different things that you could be involved. And again, do you want to see the products in every corner? Do you want to, that fewer and crime-related incidents or highway issues? So it is just as important. So we try to make sure we include that with our presentations. So we have several different comments here, and it's a lot of words. And I forgot to mention, I will share this PowerPoint presentation with you. I probably should have said that at the beginning if you're trying to scribe notes, but I will share this with you. But those distributions, the result of the standard wholesale and retail markups, and they'd exist regardless of the where and who distributes it and where it's sold. We actually use a private Idaho-owned transportation company. Diamond Line is who we use right now, but that is through a contract basis. So as far as our retail location, all leases and all that space is from private sector. So that is for all of our 67 retail outlets, and the contract stores, of course, are private businesses and business owners in those smaller communities. So limited but convenient outlet density leads to lower and responsible consumption. Our profits stay in Idaho, as mentioned. And like I said, Washington was still kind of an experiment. I mean, it's been 11 years, but we're still seeing the effects of that and how Idaho has actually been a part of that. So, and over 1 billion will be distributed to all Idahoans over the next decade. And that's a big number. So shelf price by suppliers, or the shelf prices. And 98% of the net proceeds are generated from our competitive wholesale and retail markup. And they keep the other taxes low, and they come from the willing, not the coerced. And this structure has been in Idaho, has been in place for over 85 years. The Liquor Division actually was established in 1935, a couple of years after Prohibition. So, but it's efficient, convenient, and continually updated for the benefit of all of Idahoans. So, David, answering probably one of your questions, if liberalizing the system will result in potential increased taxes, increased prices to the customer, increased outlet density and hours of operation and availability, and increased risk to public health and safety. So that's kind of as far as the Idaho model. And I've just got a couple other slides that I wanted to throw in because it's, for all of you that have, it's been such a great partnership, and I love working with all of you. So I would be remiss if I didn't add a little bit about the work of the education prevention outreach groups. So Kendall, I stole your picture and threw it in there with a sticker shock campaign. That was just a couple of weeks ago with the National Honor Society at Renaissance High School here in Meridian. So we partner with NABCA, and every year we get to choose what, if there is work being done that needs financial support. And now I want to say this is at the 10th year? Yeah, 10th year that, we realize the work that you do and understand how important it is in your communities. You know your communities, you know your groups. And so it was important to us to be able, to use that money and apply for this, and created this mini grant program, which I'm so happy to say, that started when I first started, and now we've gifted over $500,000 over the past 10 years. And it's to all of you, really. And we have included law enforcement, the national, NOAC, national, now I can't remember how he says it. Jermaine, you all know Jermaine. Northwest. I was like, NOAC. I couldn't get to the O. Thank you, Jeff. The Northwest Alcohol Conference, which has been such a great conference here in Idaho. So, but thank you for the work that you do. And for those of you that are waiting, my my awarding notice. We were meeting soon, and so we'll be able to do those awards here shortly for the grant process for this, or for those that have submitted grants for next year. So, and then COVID, I threw in a couple slides here about COVID because it really did bring into question why we do what we do. And a lot of people just didn't understand. When they came out as liquor essential, and they didn't quite understand why the answer was yes. And so I know I'm a little over on time. Am I okay to talk about this, David?
Yeah.
Am I okay? Okay. Okay. And it first came out when the governor had said, you know, here we're going to have a stay in place, but these are the businesses that were essential. And in that in that conference, it was still kind of there wasn't certainty as far as what would happen to our stores. And so, you know, we received this headline in the Idaho Statesman, and I believe to date is probably our still record day of sales within 4 hours on a Wednesday afternoon on March 26th, when they said, you know, we weren't sure, you know, media can take it in every which way. And it was actually a couple of days after Pennsylvania had already closed their liquor stores. And then Denver came and closed them for about 3 hours and then said, wait. And so we like to discuss why we're essential. Again, talking about those distributions that we just mentioned, talking about those first responders, community colleges, substance abuse treatments, and people will travel. That's the one thing we didn't want them to do during COVID. We wanted to stay in place, and people will travel. So it discourages bootlegging and people actually leaving their communities. Medical reason, of course, the unsightly part of what our products can do. There is addiction, there is withdrawal and mental health. And so the last thing we wanted was more people going into our healthcare communities and burdening them when they were trying to manage everything going on with COVID. And then we do have a partnership, a long partnership with the Idaho Health and Welfare. So we were ready because we are a staging facility for personal or PPE, the personal protective equipment, various pharmaceuticals and things. So we were taking 5 a.m. calls. We were here. We were ready to deploy those throughout the state. So there were several reasons to discuss why we're essential. And I think that was my last slide, but I wanted to take an opportunity to definitely ask, you know, if Jeff had any words that he'd like to share, or Tony, if I messed anything up terribly, or if there's anything you'd like to share.
I want to thank you, Catie, and David and everyone else for the opportunity to share some of the reasons why we do what we do. Oftentimes there's misunderstandings about these kind of things. And one of them is that I've heard a lot recently is, my goodness, you know, people sure are buying a lot more liquor. And there are reasons for that. And the two that are most prevalent, and again, if you're not in the business, you wouldn't be aware of it, but one is distilled spirits. The share of beverage alcohol consumption has increased over the last 15 years. And generally speaking, beverage alcohol consumption per capita in the United States is essentially unchanged. People are just doing things differently. And here in Idaho, we've long had a strategy of drink better, not more. So if you look at us compared to other places, you'll find that our more than popular and value items are becoming more and more prevalent. So someone's, you know, maybe choosing Cheetos vodka over something on the bottom shelf. And then, Catie, I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood, you know, we do have very simple key performance indicators. The KPIs are this. When we are in a growing market, distributions grow faster than sales, sales grow faster than volumes, and volumes grow faster than per capita consumption. So with all the population growth that Idaho has experienced, this is a natural phenomenon given what we do and the product that we sell. It's a controlled substance, but it is legal. We've tried prohibition and we know it doesn't work. But we do want to continue to support y'all and make sure that you can do the right things for your community And if we can be a small part of that, we're very proud to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony, was there anything that you'd like to add? I'm not sure if he's on the call still.
No, I think you, between you and Jeff, you've covered everything.
Great. Thank you. All righty. Well, I will. Do you want me to stop sharing the screen? I'll do
Yeah, if you
that.
can do that, that'd be helpful.
There you are. Awesome. Well, thank you again. We appreciate all that you do. Happy holidays. Stay well. And if there's any questions or things that I can answer, otherwise you can certainly email me and we can visit offline too.
Yeah, I think in the with time being a factor, we'll if you guys have any questions, you can email those to Catie. We will Catie will send us a copy of the PowerPoint. We'll send that out with the meeting minutes, so you guys can look over the information. And thank you, Catie, and
awesome.
Jeff
Thank you,
and Tony, for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a couple of items on the agenda. Sharon, do you want me to take this part of the agenda? You're muted. Sharon, you're muted.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead and talk about the new region representatives. That would be great.
Okay, so we have some changes that have happened over the last few months, and we needed to do a little bit of work with our region reps. These people are responsible for reaching out to the coalitions in their area and gathering up everything that has been done over the last month and reporting that out. If everybody did their own reporting, this would be a 3-hour meeting. So we're working to still gather what everyone is doing, yet get, kind of put it out with a shortness of time. So we have regions 2 and 4. There has been talk, and I think Shannon, you're still on here, right? Yeah, Shannon McKnight has been said that she would make a good region 4 rep. And then we don't have anyone for region 2. I think personally, I would think that Natasha has been such an amazing rock star coming on, getting involved with CCI from Orfino. So, I mean, I would think that if she's willing to, it'd be great to see her step up. But what I think we would need for each thing to nominate someone and then a motion and a second to approve those people, because they do sit alongside of our board.
Now, David, I think at the last meeting, Kelly Brumley said that she would take that position too.
Yeah, either one of them are great. They're both.
Anyway, we approved Kelly last time, so we should probably.
Okay. So we approved Kelly last time, so now we just need to talk about region 2.
I'm going to jump in real quick. This is Kelly. If Natasha wants to take that role, I think it would be great for her to have that opportunity. I've served on CCI a couple times in the past, and I don't believe she has yet. So anyways, I'm just throwing that out there.
Shannon, are you open to being the region 4 rep?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, that's good. I can do it.
Oh.
No. Yeah. All good.
Do we have any discussion on the region 2 representative? Or region 4, I'm sorry.
Shannon's region 4, right? So we're talking just about region 2 right now.
Is Natasha interested in region 2?
I'd certainly give it a heck of a go.
If there's further communication that needs to take place before a vote, let's make sure that we provide that opportunity. I don't like people to feel cornered into positions. It'll just be more successful for the entire group and our goal. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, I definitely agree. And I am more than willing to be the region 2 representative. I know we had talked about that. I was just throwing that out there for food for thought. So it's totally up. It doesn't matter. I can or I can't. So
Maybe Kelly, why don't you at least do it this year and kind of like drag me along the way so that I know what I would have to do.
okay, sounds perfect. That's fine.
Okay, so can I get a motion a second to not make any changes to the Region 2 rep?
This is Kendall. I make a motion to keep the Region 2 rep as Kelly.
I second the motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, do we have any discussion on Region 4?
I vote that we approve Shannon McKnight as Region 4 representative.
This is Kendall. I second.
In favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right.
All right.
David, do you want to do the bylaws changes down when we get to internal organization? Or did you want to do them at this point?
We could do them in the in your committee report if you would like, and we could do the
Sure.
DSC carryover that we spoke about.
That would be great. Go ahead.
Okay, so we do have a sizable amount of money carried over from last year, and is due in large part to two things. One, we had a not as big this last year as we do this year of carryover, and then COVID really didn't help us do a lot of things. A lot of our budget is tied to travel and trainings, and there were not a lot of travel and training, especially in person. A lot of stuff was virtual, which meant it was either cheaper or it just took out the cost of the travel. We're at 75,232, I believe. And Sharon did some research for us this weekend and found out that we did not have to tie it to specific categories, but we did have to let the CDC know where we would be spending those dollars. The board met Wednesday, I believe, and started the discussion about the carryover funds. We pulled together exact areas where we had not spent the full category, got that to the board on Friday. We did get a chance to meet Sharon, Chloe and I, Rose and Sylvia and David all had some things that kept them from being able to run that meeting, but they did send us email correspondence of their thoughts of what we should do with said carryover money. And we came up with some a pretty good set of ideas that we would like to have you guys give us some discussion on. And we're kind of against the wall right here because we need to get this back to the CDC before the end of the year. So this is the last meeting before the end of the year. So I apologize, but we're going to need you guys to give us your approval as well. So Chloe, can you go over those categories and dollar amounts that we talked about this morning?
Yes, so the categories that we're looking at, and correct me, David and Sharon, are National Coalition Academy, around 9,000, a CCI laptop, around 1,500, website and media for 5,000, statewide billboard campaign for 16,000 with mini grant applications available to our coalitions to have some of those billboards be in your local areas, as well as on the borders. CPS training and certification for David and myself, about 1,300. Other coalition mini grants to bring a trainer into your own coalition to your local area would be about 3,000 for each of the 12 coalitions for a total of 36,000. And then CCI staff to travel to visit and participate in trainings across the state, adding 7,000 from the carryover to that.
You know, one thing that we did talk about is $5,000 presentation fee for the legislative segment this year if we need that. That was the only one that I missed here, Chloe.
Okay.
So those categories and the billboard media thing is we've been seen as we've heard from Senator Grow and others, that we're hostile towards marijuana in Idaho. So I think doubling down on our hostility towards marijuana, we were thinking what might be good is securing some of the billboards that are near the egresses to our state from areas where they have legal marijuana. I know Moscow really stood out to Chloe and I when we were up there, because they have one literally just, you could throw a rock at it from Idaho. We deal with a lot of similar things down here in the southwest portion of the state with Ontario. I know that the east side of the state deals with it with bordering states that have legalization. And then most recently, Jackpot in Nevada has started to open up dispensaries. So we thought it would be really neat for each coalition in their region to develop a billboard that could be funded through this carryover to kind of welcome everybody into the most hostile state for marijuana in the United States. I think
one thing we do need to be careful of is we do have to keep our message in an education frame, an advocacy frame. So we still, even though we would not like legalization, we have to really be careful with our messaging as well.
That's why we talked about you guys would submit to us what you were planning on doing, so we could make sure it fits into our action plan and show it how it reflects back to yours. So those are some opportunities, especially the opportunity to bring a key level presenter to your region. We were talking about a John Baronic, Laura Stack. If you wanted to have a training, but it's always been, I can't afford it kind of thing, there is money in there as well to provide that opportunity for some of our coalitions and regions that do not have the opportunity. So does anybody have any questions, thoughts about what was presented about the carryover?
I like it. I think it's fair and equitable and covers every area that we would need additional support in. So I think it's great. Good job.
Okay, our total amount is $75,232 carryover. So if you're agreeable to those categories, let's go ahead and vote on it. Can we get a motion to adopt that carryover?
I move that we adopt the DFC carryover funds to be distributed. I don't know what, Chloe, to be distributed as suggested.
Okay, do we have a second for that?
I can second.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it carries. We'll go ahead and prepare that. That is a formal carryover request. Since it is over 25,000, we will have to do an itemized budget for that. So it will look a lot like our original grant application, but just for the $75,000 amount as well. All right, David, did you want to talk about the CADCA forum? We're considering possibly canceling our meeting that month. It's also SAMHSA Day, which is a lot lighter day. If we want to do something virtually again from there, I guess that's a possibility. But what were you favoring, Chloe and David?
So Chloe and I are looking at upcoming CADCA, which is in person. We were wanting to know who's going to, who is planning on traveling, going, and then two, since so many of us, since both Chloe and I will be there, Jim will be there. Sharon, are you going?
I am.
So a lot of us are going. So instead of, I mean, a lot of us won't be here, canceling the February meeting. And then also, like Sharon said, we could possibly talk about in January about getting together and doing something, you know, state of Idaho while we are all there. But just kind of wanted to see who was planning on going and what you guys thought about not having a February meeting since so many of us will be busy and traveling.
There's
We're
always
going-
there's always a state meeting as well when we are there. So we will have the opportunity for those attending to get together for a little bit to collaborate.
We have like 12 people going, or maybe 14, so it's going to be a big group just from our coalition. So I was concerned about Capitol Hill Day because those congressmen's officers are quite small, and if we have a huge delegate from Idaho, maybe we need to split up or make some plans on who goes which congressman and that kind of thing. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Well, CADCA did ask us last year to coordinate the Idaho side of things, and I would love to work with you, Marco, on seeing what that looks like and coordinating so that we can make the best use of our resources. So Chloe, put a little note for me that me and Marco should touch base before the end of the year so that we can start talking about what that looks like.
And our youth coalition is also is scheduling appointments with the legislators, so talk with us as well.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Anybody else going? Rose, are you guys going? No. Gary, is anyone from 2C DFC going? Are you or Daphne going to CADCA?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Rose,
Kendall,
if you need to go and want to, we could help you out if you need funds.
Okay, thank you. I'll talk to Daphne about it.
Are you
I'm
going?
not going, David.
No, okay. Try to see.
And David, if you have any extra funds, we have one person we're not funded. So, I mean, Marco, talk to me afterwards.
Tara, can you go from Region 3 for us?
I don't know. I would have to check with Charlene about that.
Okay.
So it looks like at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Kelly, are you guys sending anybody from Orofino? She's muted if she's talking. I can't tell.
Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself. I believe that Natasha and I are both going.
Okay, so a lion's share of us are going to be at CADCA. If anybody's wanting to go, but their funding is an issue, sounds like you should probably talk to me or Marco about what we might be able to figure out for you. But so I would like to get a motion on a second on thoughts on what you guys think about just canceling the February meeting since most of us will be out of the state.
I'm okay with canceling.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too. We usually meet there, you know.
Right. There's usually an Idaho meeting.
Contingent.
Right.
It would be nice to hear what the plans are as far as planning for legislative day at the Capitol and representation for the state and what that cohesive message will be.
Got it.
I wonder if part of our January meeting could be doing a work session on that, Kendall, making sure that that message is cohesive. Just a thought.
And I can tell you this, last time the congressman really wanted to hear from the youth specifically. So with Sharon's group, I'll probably only send 2 youth. I'm just sending my president and my prevention team leader, I believe. That would be easier for us because dealing with youth on a big trip like that's a whole nother ballgame. So if we can have them speak a lot, that helps. It really helps with the messaging.
Now, Marco, are you referring to our legislative day in January at the state level?
No, I'm talking about the one in February when we're on Wednesday when we're at CADCA.
Yeah, it would be nice for those of you that are going to, I'm assuming it's in DC, and participating in Capitol Hill Day to have some idea of what that messaging is going to be at the next CCI meeting, if possible.
Okay.
Idea.
I want to just check and see, because Shannon has never been either. So I don't know if YAC has funds. Are there extra funds out there, any scholarship monies, if she is interested or can?
There might.
I don't know of any write-off that have been in the budget for other than our leadership from our director and evaluator and the other, but we can sure look into it.
Is it, do they have the DFC over there at Yak?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I was just curious. I don't hope I'm not speaking out of turn, Shannon. I just thought if you had the opportunity, but might have to wait too.
Okay, so sounds like we're in agreement on the February meeting. Can I get a motion in a second for that?
Are you asking for a motion to cancel it?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we cancel it, Jerry, to
I
you.
second.
There we go.
All right, thank you, everybody. And we'll make sure that we put on the agenda for the January meeting to be to make sure we got that message created for the Capitol Hill Day. All right, so I'll move us into subcommittee reports. Sylvia, do you want to talk about the workforce development?
Sure. So Chloe and I, and then David jumped on later, but we had one meeting since. So a lot, it was just trying to we went through what Rebecca and Charlene had already put together, which is really great. So thank you for that. We are and would love to have others participate in this committee. So if anybody is interested, please reach out to Chloe. It's really just a committee that is a think tank. You know, what do coalitions need as far as training opportunities, workforce development? So right now we're just in this planning stage, looking at, what we're, for the next year. So I think that Chloe, remind me, I think we have like January, February, I think are taken care of. And so it would be planning for either mini trainings or spotlights during the coalition meetings, as well as webinars or opportunities or coalition, or excuse me, CCI spring and fall conferences, like different topics. So, but if you have ideas, we will probably send out another survey just to kind of keep it fresh. Because sometimes, I mean, where you were last year, you're in a different place this year. So your needs may be different. But again, if you want to participate in this, would love to have anybody. I know everybody's so busy, but that's kind of where we're at. We're just getting started, and Chloe and I are just trying to get that ball rolling. So that's all I have.
Awesome. Yeah, that committee is very helpful for staff because it provides a lot of great warm leads to set up trainings and stuff throughout the year. Internal organization, you ready, Sharon?
Sure. This was the day we were going to vote on the changes. Kendall did have 4 or 5 suggestions. Kendall, were most of these were just form changes? I mean, just grammatical things and such, right? Did you want to elaborate on those?
Let me see. Yeah, grammatical chair versus chairman, just for consistency throughout the document. On page 3, second paragraph. And then the only other one, if they passed and we didn't do the changes, just a question about the job title and the job description and the attachment that was included with the bylaws. I wasn't sure if that should be executive director versus project director. It took me a second to put that together.
It should just be read director throughout, because executive director suggests that the coordinator and director are the same person. So it should be director throughout. So I would just suggest that, do we have discussion before it? I think that we should just make a motion to include those technical changes that Kendall has. But before we do that, is there anyone else that would like to talk about it? I know we've been talking about it for 3 months. You're probably tired of talking about it. But if everyone is agreeable to those changes, I would just, is there someone that could entertain a motion to adopt the new bylaws? They are bylaws and guidelines, operational guidelines. So if you could, in your motion, please include Kendall's changes that she has suggested. They're just grammatical and form things that we should have consistent throughout the document.
I can make a motion to approve the bylaws and guidelines with the edits submitted via email from Kendall to Sharon.
Can we have a second?
This is Sylvia, I'll second it.
Okay, is there any further discussion? If not, all that approve, say yay.
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 Any against? Okay, thank you also for the board for helping with those work sessions as well on that. I think that's it for the CCI bylaws.
Awesome. Kendall, you want to talk about the what we've been doing with the legislative subcommittee?
Sure, and then those of you that have been involved in that can fill in if I forget anything. But before I start on that, I just a quick thank you to all of those of you that helped with the bylaw amendments. I know it's cumbersome, but it's important. So thank you for that. As far as the legislative committee, we're meeting bi-weekly until the day before the event to get things planned and make sure we're on track. We have, correct me if I'm wrong, as far as updates, we have a meeting tomorrow, so we haven't touched base since our last meeting, but we were counting on Keith with 3-1 and Aubrey of Every Brain Matters, and then 2 youth videos as far as panel speakers after the documentary. And then as our third person, I know it's not Ken, Dr. Finn was not available. There was a conflict in his schedule. And so are we still looking to identify that third person?
You know, Laura Stack did say that she had a medical person on her staff as well. I wonder if that might be somebody that we could reach out to and have fill that medical position.
Okay. So we'll talk about that at the legislative committee meeting tomorrow to solidify that. And then the next step is we'll be sending out a save the date as we accumulate resources and information that will go out for that event. Check my notes here. Yeah, so if there's any resources or things that you think are extremely helpful when it comes to education around this topic, it would be great if you could send those to either myself or David, so that we can start accumulating succinct, clear, concise data and education. We won't be able to include everything. We know there's a lot of it, but that's going to be an important part of what to include in our flyer or brochure for this event. And then also start thinking about reaching out to your elected officials to invite them. You don't have to have the conversation about the topic, just it's another opportunity to establish contact and enhance that partnership and have that conversation, not necessarily discuss legalization of marijuana. So that'll be coming up as well. And David or Sharon, anything to add to legislative committee updates?
I don't think so. Just some technical things we'll have to work at in our meeting about, you know, whether the kids want to be there live or if we want to do it, zoom them into it. So.
Okay. And then in addition, just as far as legislative committee and that kind of material, really interested in Capitol Hill Day. It's an amazing opportunity to be there in person. So looking forward to hearing what ideas those that are going to be in DC have. And then another great opportunity within the state is the Association of Idaho Cities Conference, where elected officials from throughout the state come together. That is an ideal conference for CCI to be a regular part of. I have a document somewhere that I will send that talks about different ways that you can be a member of AIC. That might be something if we're allowed with our grant funding to look into. And the June conference is the 22nd through the 24th. In the past, we've been speakers and then also helped get a keynote speaker for lunchtime for one of the days of the conference. So great opportunities there as well. I wanted to bring that up and plant that seed.
Can I ask Kendall a question on that?
Absolutely.
Do you have to be invited to actually go, or can we actually be members of the Idaho cities?
I believe it's a paid membership. So it depends on what kind of, and that's the brochure that I have. They have a whole PDF document that talks about kinds of basically membership or partnership, what you want to get out of it and how much you want to be involved. And I can send that to David and Chloe. Just helps provide opportunity to see where we might best spend funding if we can do that. I believe that is all I have from Legislative Committee for updates. Unless anybody else has heard anything about upcoming drug-related legislation that might be introduced. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Get ready, gear up, because we're going to need your help for this.
Yes, we are. Okay, and then Chloe, do you want to talk about the networking and membership committee?
Yes, I was just going to quickly share the template for our newsletter. So this is just the template. Our colors, I just wanted everyone to see it. I know this was something that we've all discussed together. So just going to scroll through it. If you have any feedback of how you think it could be formatted or worded differently, but that's kind of what it's going to look like. It'll be embedded in an email that we send out that has kind of those subsections of emails that I already send out to everyone. But hopefully this will be a way that it can all be in one email. I either send them out monthly, quarterly, we can decide that later, but that's kind of the template that we were able to create with Tribute Media or media contractors. So just wanted to share that with everyone. And that's all I have.
And Chloe, who is the chairman of the networking and membership communications subcommittee?
Daphne, she just had to hop off our meeting early today. So.
You know, one suggestion that I was going to make to that template, it's always great to hear the latest research. If you wanted to add a little section in of the latest studies that have came out, or the latest things that we can use as kind of ammunition on our parts as coalitions.
Yeah. Good suggestion. And if anyone else has suggestions, please email them to me and to Daphne.
Okay, we are going to go on to the regional representatives reports, and we will start with Kelly for Region 2. We're asking that you really limit your remarks to what has recently happened or what is coming up in December, to keep your remarks to 1 or 2 minutes so that we'll be able to finish in our designated times. So Kelly, do you want to go ahead?
Okay, so we have some marketing that we're doing around town about keeping kids safe and drug-free through the holidays. And we have a breakfast with Santa coming up. That's always a really fun event for the kids. And then our big shopping extravaganza where kids can come in and shop for their family members at a very, very, very low cost. And the gifts are wrapped. It's just a really fun time. December is always fun. I know Charlene and Cammie, I just got done with their big Christmas extravaganza. I know it was hugely attended. 400 plus people came to it. So they had lots of community enrichment through that. And I apologize, I don't know what Lapway is up to lately, but I will reach out to them now and stay more in the loop of what they're doing.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right, Jerry, are you on board?
Yeah, I'm here. I hate to steal all the thunder from Tara. I mean, she did so much of this work, but I'll just real quickly talk about our sticker shock campaign was amazing, and I wasn't there for it, but I've been hearing all about it. Bianca did a little media release on it for us, and there were about 7 agencies involved. If I think about it, it was the Idaho Office of Drug Policy, the Idaho State Liquor Division, of course, the 2C Coalition, Southwest District Health, and Tara, and they partnered up with the Nampa Teen Council and the Caldwell's Mayor Youth Advisory, and law enforcement was there. They stickered 5,000 bags at the 2 events, and they're going to be distributed. And it was just amazing. We are riding so high from that we didn't even do anything in December. We said, let's just enjoy this success that we had. And I just want to thank Tara, she's on here, and Daphne and Bianca and also the others that. And Tara, if I forgot something, pick it up when you come with the PFS report, okay?
Thanks, Jerry. All right, Shannon with Region 4.
Well, we also did the sticker shock campaign here in Valley County. We had 8 kids show up. 4 were from a youth group at our local church, and 4 were my daughter and her friends. And we did just over 2,000 bags in about 2 hours.
Wow.
And then I took them to New Meadows, McCall, Donling, Cascade. Each of those has a liquor store, like a state one, one of those 69, I guess. I didn't take it to the little one, and I was thinking maybe I should do that, the one that's inside of a deli. That's about it. We've started our winter carnival planning and stuff like that, but that's about all. December is going to be slow for us too, I think.
All right, thanks.
Also
Sharon.
in Region 4, they had MADC had a very successful sticker shock campaign where they used teamed up with Renaissance High School, and they did quite a few bags themselves, a large number Catie talked about in her presentation, and they had some trivia attached to it too, so the kids were learning while they're doing it. So that was a neat one.
All right, Marianne, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I can. There I am. Sorry, my camera's giving me difficulties this morning. I don't have any sticker shock stuff to report myself. I know David was trying to help me get people to actually let me know what they're doing. But the people that I tried to contact, nobody got back to me. So I'm not sure. The one person that had told me they were going to try to do it, I can't seem to get them to answer my email, text, phone calls, nothing. So I don't know what happened with that. And anything else that I have is just connected directly to the PFS grant.
Okay, we'll circle back to that. All right, Marco, how about you?
So in our region, the Salmon Coalition, yours, Sharon, they're getting ready to do their sticker shock campaign, but they also did this walk against drunk driving, and they had a lot of businesses and families involved in that. It's a very successful event. I also saw one of your youth get an award in my region called the Kids Matters Award. That was kind of cool, seeing Salmon kids and some of ours from SIA. I was like, hey, we know you guys. That was exciting. BYDC did 6,000 bags for their sticker shock campaign, and so did SIA. About the same day, and it was we got them delivered together at the same time. We did a Friendsgiving event, and then also Salmon is getting prepared to do their New Year's Eve alternative activity coming up, and Christmas time, SIA is going to be doing an event. We got $500 donated from a community partner to get kids gifts and do a white elephant thing and have a bunch of kids, and then also we'll be doing a New Year's thing as well for an alternative activity. Next week we have Trapped for a second time this year, and we chose December to do it, and we will have a town hall next Saturday with about 200 parents and community members showing up. So that's a great time where we get to have a lot of conversations about talking to your youth and pushing our agenda to get more involved with substance abuse work. So that's our region. I think that's all. A lot going on.
All right. You guys make me excited about all the ideas that you do in your different communities. We want to take a minute for our partners and success coordinators. Again, if you could please limit your discussion to just what has happened currently or what's coming right up, and limit your reports to just 1 or 2 minutes. Let's go ahead with, I don't think Amy Hurdle is here today, right? No, so let's start out with Kaylee.
Hi, I'm just getting settled into this position, so I'm just getting kind of caught up on things, but I have been scheduling different trainings and partnering with Amy from District 1 to do some of that. So not too much to give an update on yet.
All right, well, welcome aboard. All right, Tara.
Hi,
Tara,
everybody. Hi. Our big things were really the sticker shock this month, which went well. And then working with some other schools to hopefully get in some third millennium curriculum, and do some DITEP trainings and some other exciting things. So lots going on. Hopefully more to update in.
You had a good partnership with coffee shops and Be the Parents, didn't you?
Oh yeah, so we got a few coffee shops throughout Nampa and Caldwell to use the Be the Parents coffee sleeves simultaneously with the release of those bags in the liquor stores. So hopefully there's some cross marketing there, raising awareness with adults in the region. And then so a little Be the Parents marketing material out in the community at the same time as the sticker shock campaign.
Do you have dates for your DITEP training?
No, so working to organize one or two, hopefully, but no official training set, hopefully this spring.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tara. How about Rebecca? Are you still on, Rebecca?
I'm here. So mostly a lot of logistical planning also for DITEP and our parenting class that's coming up again starting in January. We've got a DITEP scheduled in collaboration with Shannon for Valley County residents. That'll be in February. And then I'm working with some Boise County leadership to get that also in February. So there will be marketing materials for that coming soon. We've just partnered with Tara and Family Medicine Residency of Idaho. That's a pretty big project. We've got the doTERRA pouches going into all 11 of their clinics between our two counties or regions. So that should start right after the first of the year. We're just waiting for the rest of the supplies to come in. So that's exciting.
Great. Thanks, Rebecca. Marianne Doshier, are you still on?
I am. The PFS program has had one DITEP class already with 12 participants at our Twin Falls Alternative High School. We have 2 more high schools that are in the works of trying to pin down exactly what date to have their classes, but they're interested. We're also offering it to a particular organization that works a lot with youth. So they also are trying to determine exactly what date would be best for that. We have successfully held 3 now youth mental health first aid classes. That was for a total of, let's see, but there was 7 in one class, 8 in one class, and 9 in another class. So it was kind of funny. We have 2 more classes that are scheduled this coming Saturday and then the 18th. Saturday's class already has 15 people signed up. And then we are just starting on the 18th. We have like, I think 2 or 3 people in that. Then I also am about to later this week have a handful of people that are going to be getting trained in how to use the life skills training program. So we're pretty excited about that getting going. It's a group of people that work as counselors and prevention people with either middle school or high school age students in about 3 different school districts. So I'm pretty excited to get that one going and see how that goes. And other than that, the social norms program at the community college of Southern Idaho is finally kind of taking off. They got me all of the student surveys back and I'm compiling those. We've been doing every other month a newsletter for them, and that has been well received. So we're promoting our little slogan is CSI Eagles succeed without alcohol or drugs. So they are liking that. And so far, so good. I'll keep you informed on how that ends up going.
Great. It's great to see you involved with the college there. Wonderful. Jesse, I don't think that Jesse is on today unless you joined us a bit late. So we can go right on to Mallory. Mallory, are you filling in today for, or are you the new representative? Mallory, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I am not the new representative. We do not have anyone to fill Danae's spot. But I do know that Danae did get a DITEP training done in October with Madison School District on a professional development day, and that was great. I was able to go as the drug overdose prevention program coordinator and do a naloxone training as well during that, which was nice. And right before Danae left, she did finish her parenting class. It was a positive action parenting program, and she taught it at a recovery center for couch recovery here in Idaho Falls. So she was able to finish that before she left as well. So those are just kind of some of the updates, but we don't have anyone yet into the position. Hopefully that'll happen. So.
All right. Thanks, Mallory. Let us know on that. We're excited to meet the new representative as well. We have just as our training opportunity for December is actually just making our Johnny's Ambassadors available. If you didn't see it, Laura is just very professional. If you haven't seen it, you really should watch her presentation. There's a link in the agenda today for that. And David, did you have anything to add for the new funding opportunities?
No, other than we were hoping to try to do something else with grant writing workshop that just wasn't being able to pull together fast enough. But we do have quite a few people affiliated with CCI who are good at grants. So if you are looking to write a grant for the block grant funds, that I think that deadline's coming up February 1st. Let us know if you need assistance in formulating that. We would love to hook you up with Debbie Evans or anybody else that is really amazing at those grant opportunities. If there's an opportunity where we can plug you in with someone to help fill that spot, we could. But other than the upcoming black grant funds for 2022, and then the resources that we just approved for the DFC carryover for this year, I don't have anything else.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. We made it. We made it before 12:30. Very good. But and I don't know if Catie Wiesman is still on. It looks like she might have checked off, but it was really good to hear their perspective and their what they're doing in the state as well today. So thank you everyone, and we will meet again on January 10th. So have a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Bye-bye.